Radio Garden.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are independent and do not in any way represent that of Live Radio Stance. Live Radio, go green, the future we want. The future we want.
Live Issues, a program that discusses on issues that hinge on all sectors of development. It be health.
The doctor, depending on the strain of the virus you are carrying, is able to put together a combination or a regime of drugs.
Politics.
What is required now is sincerity in the political scene. You know, we have a lot of hypocrisy, I can tell you.
Wose malidansi banabana bakuru barungu banabana bakuru bakainde banabana bakuru bakambwiri banabana bakuru bantoto mwanza banamwana mkuru. If somebody wants to tell you as a youth to go and protest, tell them that let your son also be here as we go and protest.
For women, it is important for us not to be intimidated by such statements. Politics are dirty because of the people that are in it. The nature of politics itself is not.
Education.
Education, we are trying to look at a possibility, of course, of free education, because education is supposed to be a right.
Very beautiful morning to you and welcome to today's edition of Live Issues right here on Live Radio 97.2 FM. Program meant to discuss issues of national interest in the country. Welcoming you to it, I am Thomas Afroman Mwale. Various issues have been happening as far as economic recovery plan is concerned from the end of the ruling United Party for National Development, UBND. From clinching the deal with the bondholders of debt restructuring to resuscitating Mopani copper mine through the agreement with the International Resources Holding IRH of Abu Dhabi, the resumption of mining activities at Shaft 28, to mention but a few. These have been issues to which the country has been looking into as far as the economic recovery plan is concerned. Amid this, issues of cost of living have continued to surely be on the minds of Zambians that are now in some parts of the country are making long queues just to access the cheaper mini meal in ZNS. And of course, we even got a report as of last week on the Copper Belt that there was a stampede that led to one woman being injured in the pursuit of wanting to get ZNS mini meal at a cheaper price. That said, JCTR says the cost of living for a family of 5 is seated at 10,603 kwacha. But with this cost of living, the minimum wages to which government did surely actualize at the 1st of January in 2024, they have not taken effect as many people are still getting incomes beyond the minimum wage. To speak to this as well as many other issues bordering on the state of affairs in the country, I do have the president of Muntu Party, the party which was launched about a month ago, and the president is President Stephen Nyuinda. Good morning, Mr. Nguyen, and welcome to Live Radio.
Thomas, good morning. Good morning, Zambians outside there. Zambia is for Zambians, and only Zambians will develop this country. Thank you.
Great. With that said, let's begin by finding out how the ground is for Muntu Party. Of course, I've alluded to the fact that it has now been obviously a month or so from the time that you launched as a political party.
Well, the ground is very fertile. As you see that we have a problem in this country. Right up now, economic problems and many other problems, droughts and so on, energy problems and so on and so on. For us, the ground is fertile. We are not the people who would want to profit from bad things that are happening. But people have seen for themselves that basically there is no proper leadership in this country right up now. As you can see with the problems that are among us, the Zambians.
Great. Well, let's get into the problems, obviously, that we do have as a country in line with the issues of national interest. Of course, in my introduction, I have talked about something that has been on the minds of many. Since you go by the slogan of Zambia for Zambians, and that it is our very own countrymen as well as women who can develop this country, I must believe that you've taken keen interest into issues currently happening at Mopani Copper Mine. Remembering that it is only about a month or so when the decision that the government made through the Ministry of Mines, in line with going into an agreement with the International Resources Holding of Abu Dhabi, giving it 51% of shares in Mopani Copper Mine. The debate currently in the country has heightened, with others calling this as illegal but fantastic. And of course, the persons who use such words inclusive of the State Council in John Sangwa, who says that the deal is fantastic but illegal. And of course, many other political parties have dubbed this to be an illegal deal, and that the new government, by virtue of it entering into this deal with International Resources Holding, transferring, for using that term deliberately, 51% of the shares, it is selling national assets to foreigners. I would want to get your first reaction to this.
Yes.
Because it has been looked into as part of the economic recovery plans that the UPND has.
Yes, first of all, I'll start with ourselves, saying Zambia is for Zambians.
Okay.
Only Zambians will develop Zambia. It starts from there. But what are we doing here? We have just said that Zambians will not develop it. Other people develop it. The company that is coming in is a foreigner. If you own 51%, you can have meetings, you can do things, you can change things without even inviting other people. That's what it means. The one who owns 50 plus 1 owns everything in that particular company. But anyway, let me go back and look at the whole general thing, which is basically our economy. When we talk about the mines right up now, we're talking about actually the heart of Zambia. Right up now, in the future, it's going to be different.
Okay.
The mines, they are the things that can. It's one part that can change our lives overnight if we handled it properly. But let me go backwards a bit. No one wants to associate himself or herself with a loser or something that is failing. The sub-Saharan African is a loser. As I'm talking right up now, Zambia is a loser. As I'm talking right up now, if we look at the world economy, they consider we are poor. They consider we have nothing. They consider we are not good enough to be part and parcel of the top cream of the world. So therefore, these people, when they look at us, they don't look at us as to come and invest and have prosperity with us. No, they come here just to take and go because they consider us as losers. They consider us as failures. Hence, us saying Zambia is for the Zambians and only Zambians will develop Zambia. That means, having said that, number one, the wealthy of Zambia must be in the hands of the Zambians. If our leaders do not see or do not think, or they think that themselves cannot make it, there are Zambians, lots of Zambians that can make it in this country. If we have a proper leadership, if we educate our people, believe you me, this country can be turned with these minds temporarily. It can be turned from the third world to the first world. We have everything in this country. The only problem that we have right up now is that we don't believe in our people. So therefore, I'll come to Mopani now. You go and rejoice. We have given 51 plus to a foreigner. That means it doesn't belong to you. And they bring a 600 to say, okay, here's a 600, another 400 is going to go for 400 billion is going to go to pay the debt. The 600 we inject inside 1 billion. What is that? That is nothing. That is nothing. If our budget is about 7 billion, and you are happy that somebody is bringing 600 million, these guys, when they invest in the so-called first world, they talk about trillions. I was just seeing a few days ago when Japan invested over $1 trillion in France. Do they think like that? To think of $1 trillion in Africa? To think even of $500 billion in Africa? No. They consider us as people who are losers, as people where they can just come and pick and go. 600,000 and we are rejoicing. 600 million, and we're rejoicing. This is for me a joke. There is no way I can say this deal is good. This deal is no good. This deal would only be good if it's given to the Zambians and done in a right manner.
Obviously, Mopani copper mine, as well as the Konkola copper mines, have not been functioning for the longest of time. And of course, we know this has been legacy stories that obviously you have added your voice on, and the president time and again has spoken to the need for these institutions to get back into operation, because many people were retrenched from mining operations. And with the coming in of these investors from IRH, as well as Vendata, amongst those that have been brought back in the mining sector, the UPND, together with the president, have spoken of how these are economic boosters, especially for copper production here in Zambia, as well as towards ensuring that the current economic crisis does not hamper negatively businesses, and that we continue thriving as an economy. Why are you sounding so negative about this deal that government has gotten into, especially in line with Mopani? Don't you see any tangible results that will come out of this deal?
First of all, I'm not sounding negative. I am just looking at the facts.
Okay.
We are talking about 1 billion here. 400 to go to the creditors or to debt, and 600 to be invested inside. Now, I am saying there's a wrong thinking or upside down thinking. Look at the 20% that NAPSA paid to the Zambian people, to us. The government said, okay, anybody who wants can go and get his 20% from NAPSA. NAPSA has paid close to $1 billion. That man has been paid close to $1 billion to us Zambians. Now, if there was a willpower to say, okay, this close to $1 billion for you Zambians, it is your money. We are going to invest it into Mopani. So Mopani can start generating. And the dividends from there, we are going to pay you. That company would have been 100% for the Zambian people. It is the thinking, it's the way you do things, it's the leadership that does not actually fulfill its mandate by giving a service to the people, by being a proper leader to the people, by basically looking at the things objectively and doing them in the right manner. The hands, as we are saying, they're actually points that we are talking about ourselves. Let the wealth of Zambia be in the hands of the Zambians. Educate the Zambians. We have deliberately, or the leadership of us has deliberately not educated the people to the fullest. We are talking about free education. This is not free education. This is nothing at all. As I said before, you can't have 150 and 200 people in a class you think they are going to be educated. No, it is cheating. This is cheating. So if we educate our people will know how basically to extract these things much better. People will know how to make policies that are going to make us basically have a profitability from our minds. We need also to understand and agree that our understanding of the minerals, of the resources that have been given, our understanding of making policies that will profit us, our understanding of actually extracting the maximum from this is very limited. Right up now, we need to agree and know that it is limited. Even the understanding of the personnel that are at the Ministry of Mines, it is very limited. Hence, us actually having a chaotic industry. You cannot give thousands and thousands of licenses to the outside there, and you don't know who exporting what, who is basically flying in and flying out, who is taking your gold out, who is buying it out. You don't know. Basically, this is not organized properly. As long as it goes like that, as long as we have chaos in the mining industry, we are not going to profit from the mines.
Okay.
And then we say, okay, bring that big guy from outside to come and do it for us. It's impossible.
Okay.
No one will come from outside to do it from us, for us. Everybody who comes from outside is coming to pick. They'll drop just a bit and get the maximum. As I said before, the 1 billion could have come from the 20% of the NAPSA money that the people collected, invested into there. After that, there were going to be dividends that are given to the Zambians according to the 20% that each one got. So Zambians were going to be part and parcel of the shares, or the owners of the shares from Mopani. As simple as all that. But if we don't finish the thinking, that's what it is. I don't know where we are rushing to, but if we take it very correctly, we do it the right things, the mining sector can be a boost into other industries like agriculture. We can, within the shortest period, collect enough money that can change our living, that can change our agricultural industry, that can change other productive areas to make sure that we become a prosperous country. Zambia can become the first world within the shortest period if there's a proper leadership, and leadership that values the people, leadership that trains the people.
Right.
So, going further, as I said, number one, if you want the economy to be okay, make sure Zambians control the economy. Number two, agree that right up now, you don't have enough understanding of what is going on. If you agree to that, you will then train your people. When you train your people, you will then offer equal opportunities to the Zambians to make sure the Zambians exploit their resources. At the same time, you must balance between the finance and the productive areas. You cannot have a chaotic financing world and hope to produce in the country. Right up now, why Zambians are just left like that? There is no healthy financing sector in Zambia that promotes the Zambians. You can't have interests that are over 30%. If you are making 20%, for you to make 30% in any business, it's almost impossible. In terms of profits, the percentages that you make in big companies, they're around 2%, 3%. In small companies, you're talking about between 20 and 25 or sometimes 30%. But if you've got interest rates that are 30 and over 30%, how are you going to get the money to make the money to repay back? It's literally impossible. Our industry, our financing sector does not match. There is no relationship to productive area with our financing. These are certain things that people need to look at in economy. The other thing is basically the independence, economic independence. If you don't have any economic independence in your country, it is literally impossible for you to do the right things for the people. The people who give you the money from outside, they are always going to tell you in the name of democracy and economic policies that are going to hurt your people, that are going to hurt your country. And this is what is happening right up now. Because we go outside there to ask for money, they give you those policies, those conditions that are going to make sure that your people are going to suffer because you cannot subsidize or you cannot literally let your people go and borrow at a certain institution because there are restrictions. All of these restrictions. So these are some of the points that will hinder basically the economy and will hinder even us as Zambians to take over.
Now, with that said, obviously, you've heard time and again in this country the conversation of the locals complaining that we do not benefit from mining our resources, we do not benefit the way we are supposed to. And of course, this has mainly been blamed at the existing policies that we have in the mining sector. As a president of a political party that is aimed at looking into the plight of its citizens first, what are some of the policies that you feel are bad that the government has currently implemented that are leading to the Zambians not benefiting from...
Thomas, is the Zambians are not given equal opportunities to the economy on the resources. They are not. The last time I was here, or I don't know whether I mentioned it here, the same Mopani, when they are dealing this Mopani, when the transaction of Mopani, definitely there are organizations that are put, the consultants, the lawyers and things like that. To do all that process, it costed 17 million, 17.3 million. That's what it costed. Out of this 17.3 million, 17 million went out. Only about $180,000 remained here. So this is an example that Zambians are never given equal opportunities to participate in their own economy. If, for example, from that 17 million, just $10 million remained with the Zambian companies, the lawyers, consultants, and so on, you would see that these people with that money can be reinvested in other productive entities. They can sometimes open a school that can educate more people. They can really go in other productive, indeed even in the mining. But opportunities are not given to the Zambians. That's point number one, where we are saying Zambians for Zambians. We want the Zambians to take the lead. Number two is what I mentioned already. You want to keep your people dull. You want to keep the Zambians dull. That has been one of the problems of the black African countries. Not educating their people to the maximum so that they can benefit themselves. Because if people are properly educated throughout, it is going to be very difficult, for example, to maneuver around and start cheating around and telling us lies and things like that. You can't, because they will see through what you are saying. So we are saying there is no research and development. There is no deliberate promotion of innovation and creativity. If you innovate and you create, you will come up with new products, even new services like new policies that are going to be good for the country. But what is happening, because the funding in the research and development is almost zero, the funding in some of these institutions where our Zambian people can develop is almost zero. We remain with a limited knowledge. With a limited knowledge, we cannot go and develop and get the maximum from our resources. We cannot get the policies that literally will profit the Zambian people because our knowledge is limited. So then, because of that, they will say, okay, we are going to get the British to come and do consultants. We are going to get an Arab to come and do investing here. We have forgotten that one of the most powerful capacity in any country is the human resource. Your Zambian people, us at Muntu Party, the first priority will to make sure that the Zambian, the human resource is educated to the most, knows, can create intellectual property, can create new products that are never there, discover them and sell them internationally, and that will make us competitive.
Now, it's not that right now we do not have Zambians that are so interested in mining activities. Obviously, you've heard of the artisanal miners in this very country, and you've heard of our brothers and sisters who are called illegal miners. Unfortunately, in this regard, we have recorded tragedies as a country for the longest of time. And of course, things that we can obviously pick off the top of our minds. We remember how devastating December was. Over 30 lives of illegal miners at Sensedi, open pit mine, died right there with only one survivor. And of course, this till now raised a whole lot of questions. Not so long ago, there was a case involving the microlink miners also that died as the operation site where they were at collapsed on them. And these incidences have continued coming, showing that, okay, there is interest from the locals wanting to participate, and unfortunately, the circumstances to which they are participating in are really worrying right now, and we should be looking into the welfare of them. Speaking from the end of your party ideologies in line with illegal mining in the country, if you are the president today, how would you regulate such to ensure that we reduce on the loss of lives?
It is in a manifesto. Who unveil it, or people can read it. It is to be in the domain. First of all, I spoke about chaos in the mining industry. There is chaos because we have limited way of thinking. There is no way you can give all those hundreds or thousands of licenses to people who are able and people who are not able. People who are financed and people who are not financed. Then what happens if there's that chaos in the administration, chaos in the industry, is what you are seeing now. They are not able to regulate. They know certain things are happening. They see them. You have this politician who says, okay, I'm going to give you this hill. You can do whatever you want to do. It is what we say. A politician, he just minds on how he's going to win the next election. A leader will mind how the future of the Zambian people, of the youth, of the children, of all the Zambian people is going to be. We are leaders in Muntu Party. We mind of the future of Zambia, the future of the Zambian youth, of the Zambian children that we bear. A politician, because he knows, if I do the right thing by stopping this person now, he is not going to vote for me. So they are fearing, they are intimidated. And then they leave all this chaotic stuff that is going on right up now. It shouldn't be. Us and Muntu Party, according to our manifesto, what will happen? The first thing that will happen, if it means closing, withdrawing all the mining licenses so that we can do consultancy and bring up a better way of doing it, we will do it. Yes, because you cannot continue with the chaotic situation that we have now. We are losing lives. You can hear there, as I'm speaking right up now, all over the country, people are illegally mining. Not that the ministry doesn't know about it. They know. They deliberately turn a blind eye. Now, these things have been happening for decades. Now, you cannot say that this government or the previous government was bad, this one is good because it's letting them. No. What is bad is bad. So this government as well, it has got no vision towards mining. If it had a vision towards mining, they would control the situation of these illegal mines. The people are doing illegal mining right up now because of hunger, because of hardship that they are having. So the problem that needs to be sorted is somewhere else, first of all, before you can come to that. Stop this and give the people an alternative. In our manifesto, we have an alternative to give to the people.
Live radio is where you are at, and this is Live Issues. This morning, we are chatting to the Muntu Party President Stephen Nyirenda. And of course, we are looking into the state of affairs in the country. Not so long from now, I'll be able to open the phone lines for you to be a part of our conversation and add your voice to our conversation. In the meantime, you can send forth your advance questions to the text line 0977 62 4270. That is 0977 62 4270. That is the number you can utilize to add your voice to the conversation right now. In the meantime, you can send a voice, a message or a WhatsApp voice note on that platform also to ask a question or make a contribution on the platform. Now, moving ahead, Mr. Mwiya, I would love us to speak to the current state of affairs, and of course, these state of affairs in the space of the cost of living, which the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, estimates that a family of 5 is currently spending 10,603 kwacha for sustenance within a month. And of course, the government has received a strong criticism from some section of society with regards to why, as at now, it has not reintroduced subsidies to help cushion the citizens from the